If you're in the Reserve or National Guard and you want to use your VA home loan benefit, there are going to be some specific requirements that you need to be able to meet. So, in this video, we're going to talk about exactly what those requirements are in order for you to be able to use your VA home loan benefit as a member of the Reserve or National Guard. And if you're new here, me and my team get called every single day from veterans and service members just like you who are trying to navigate the VA loan process. So, if you find yourself stuck or you just want to get help from a team of individuals who specialize in helping veterans go through this process, give us a call or shoot us a text. We're happy to help. Okay, so let's talk about how somebody that is in the Reserve or National Guard can be able to use the VA home loan benefit and what those requirements are going to look like. The first major requirement that you may already know of that exists is going to be the 6-year requirement in order for you to be eligible for the VA home loan benefit. This is based on just a standard term of service for somebody that has enlisted in the Reserves or National Guard. And this requirement is solely based on if there is no other thing that takes place within your time of service, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, when it comes to that 6-year term of service, there's going to be some things that will make you eligible after you've satisfied it. And this could be one, obviously receiving an honorable discharge from having completed that 6-year time of service. It could also be placed on the retirement list. Maybe you did more than 6 years and you went on to maybe the 25-year term, and that could also make you eligible after that 6-year time frame as well. The other one could be you transferred to other honorable service, which means that you maybe went from a reserve role and then you decided now you're going to be serving on active duty. I've seen several veterans go that route and they are now eligible from that 6-year service, which could be one way. But then they're also are now eligible just from their service that they now have on active duty as well, which it has a shorter time frame. The other one is going to be you're just still currently serving. You did your 6 years and now you're at year 7 or year 8, and now you are eligible to use your VA home loan benefit, obviously after satisfying that 6-year time frame. But the biggest one that is going to make you possibly eligible is going to be how you could be eligible if you've served less than 6 years. And this is also a big possibility that a lot of members of the Reserve or National Guard don't know about. And it could be one through federal activation for something other than school or training. This federal activation comes in the form of Title 10, which could be more like a deployment that you've picked up, or it could be in the form of Title 32, which could be have an activation for something like, example, COVID. There were, I believe, over 50,000 National Guard members that were federally activated to support during COVID, and many of them didn't even know that they now became eligible to use the VA home loan benefit. This is also happening down here in Texas, where we have our National Guard helping with the border. That's under Title 32, which means that they are now eligible, or at least the ones that have not served 6 years could now be eligible for the VA home loan benefit as well. Now, there are some timeline requirements for having served under Title 10 and Title 32 if you have not done 6 years of service. For Title 10, you have to have done 90 consecutive days in order for you to be eligible for the VA loan. So obviously, if you've only done 30 days of Title 10 orders, that's not long enough. The requirement is going to be for 90 days. Now, personally, I have not come across somebody that was federally activated for less than 90 days on Title 10 orders specifically. So that's something that maybe it has happened, and that's probably why the rule exists. But just for context, I personally have not seen that happen. Title 32 is a little bit unique. There's a couple of things that has to happen here. You have to have done 90 cumulative days. So it does not have to be 90 consecutive. It's 90 cumulative days on Title 32 orders. And of those 90 days, 30 of them do need to be consecutive days. So that's another thing to keep in mind of when it comes to if this will make you eligible for the VA loan in less than 6 years. Now, there's some other things that you're going to need to be able to gather in order for us to verify that service and provide that to the VA so that way they can go ahead and get you your certificate of eligibility. This is a list of the documents that are going to be needed from you depending on which branch that you are a part of. So if you want to pause here, just screenshot this so that way you know exactly the document to be able to provide to your loan team. That's going to be something we need to be able to provide to the VA to give them the ability to be able to produce your certificate of eligibility. Now, keep in mind, everything that I just talked about with regards to using the VA loan in less than a 6-year time frame, or everything I just talked about in regards to being able to use your VA home loan for those different terms of service is going to be really for somebody who serves less than 6 years. If you're over that 6-year timeline, then you should be eligible right now based on just having satisfied the 6 years. The Title 10 and Title 32 is going to be solely for somebody that is served less than 6 years, maybe one or two, and they're trying to be able to use a VA loan in an earlier time frame of their service. Now, the other thing to keep in mind of when it comes to qualifying, there's a few things that can happen. Your service income for your for your reserve or guard income does count as qualifying income. Now, if you have been federally activated, this could be for something like AGR, Active Guard Reserve. That activated income does actually count towards being your qualifying income. If you're not under activation right now or currently, and you're just doing your reserve or guard time, we can use that income to support your other income from employment. Maybe you have a full-time job, which I would think you did, just because I know that the income that you make from your guard or reserve pay is not as much to be able to support a living. If you have full-time income, we use that income as well to help qualify you for what you're essentially buying. So it's not just your service income. It could just be your employment income from a civilian job that you do have. And that income can be for things like W-2 pay, like hourly. It could be a salary. You could even be receiving commission pay. Just with commission pay, keep this in mind. Commission pay, you do have to have been at that job for at least 2 years for that income to qualify or be eligible. You could also be receiving bonuses or overtime income. That bonus and overtime income does also follow that 2-year timeline as well. But essentially, if you're working a job where you're a W-2 employee, your hourly, your salary, we can use that income to be able to qualify you for using the VA home loan benefit along with your reserve and guard pay. Before I jump into some additional details, I just wanted to let you know that every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be live answering your questions about the VA home loan benefit. So if there is a specific topic or something specific that you want to know more about the VA home loan benefit, join me Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central, and I will be there every single Sunday to answer your question live to make sure that you're getting the most value out of this channel and out of your VA home loan benefit. Now, I want to talk to you about some of the perks of using the VA loan, and some of the perks are going to be first, 100% financing, which is no money down. This is super powerful because it has a lower barrier of entry for you, the service member, or you, the veteran, to be able to use the VA home loan benefit without having to come up with 3.5% down on an FHA loan or 3 to 5% down on a conventional loan. This is going to give veterans and service members the best opportunity to become a homeowner. The next one is going to be the credit score requirement. On VA loans, there technically is no credit score required. Now, don't write that down because you see, when it comes to the requirements that the VA have, the VA does not actually do loans. The VA only guarantees the loan, which determines who can or cannot use the VA loan. But they don't actually provide the financing. Lenders do, which means that even though the VA does not have a credit score requirement, the lender that you're working with may have that very credit score requirement. So it's important to understand where you're at in the credit spectrum and also understand the team that you're working with regards to what their requirements are. A lot of the most well-known lenders out there that veterans love going to for some reason have credit score requirements of 620, 640, some even at 660. Me and my team can go as low as 580. We've even helped veterans in the 540 range be able to receive a VA loan, and that is through something called the manual underwrite. The manual underwrite is a super powerful route because it's us basically doing a deeper dive into your credit situation to try to prove why this is still a good loan because it meets the VA requirements. I have an entire video talking about manual underwrites and how to get it. So if you find yourself not having the best credit picture or the best credit profile, check out that video, which I will link right above here. So that way you can go ahead and start learning a little bit more about how you could possibly still get a VA loan, even though you don't have the most ideal credit situation. The other thing that is really cool about the VA loan is going to be the debt to income ratio. The VA also does not have a debt to income ratio, but as I mentioned before with credit, there is going to be some things you need to be in mind of with regards to the lender you're working with. Now, some lenders do still have a debt to income ratio when it comes to working with them, but the VA uses a thing called residual income, which is actually what me and my team follow as well. Residual income is based on your first, where you're located, It's based on where you're located geographically. There's 4 regions that basically encompass the entire country, and then it's based on your household size. So, the more people that are in the household, the more the VA will expect to have left over after all of your bills are paid. Now, that number that the VA requirement may have in place could equal a debt to income ratio of over 65% or even 70%, which is really high. That means that if you essentially meet the VA's residual income requirement and among other VA requirements as well, you could still be eligible or still qualify for a VA loan. When if you were going to do any other type of loan with a debt to income ratio like that, you wouldn't be able to qualify, which means that the VA loan could be the only avenue for you or for a veteran to be able to achieve home ownership. So that's something to keep in mind of, and it's why it's a perk that I say is very powerful because it allows more and more veterans to become homeowners, which is the goal here. The other perk is going to be private mortgage insurance. If you're purchasing a property with a conventional loan and you are putting less than 20% down, you're going to have private mortgage insurance, which essentially means you're making a payment of a premium that is actually not an insurance policy to protect you. It's an insurance policy to protect your lender. Imagine if you got into a car accident, but it was only just to protect the people that you bought the car from. It wasn't there to actually protect you. Private mortgage insurance works exactly like that. If you foreclose, default, or have anything go wrong, it's there to protect the lender who provided the loan to you, not to protect you. It doesn't go towards your principal, it doesn't go towards your interest, it doesn't go towards your overall loan at all. It is just there for that lender. If you're doing an FHA loan, no matter how much you put down, private mortgage insurance is going to be there on the loan as well. With VA loans, there is no private mortgage insurance, and there never is, no matter what your down payment situation is like whatsoever. Now, let's talk about some of the properties that you can buy with your VA loan. You can buy a single family home, condo, townhouse, multifamily property, manufactured home, a new build, and also a custom construction home. Now, when it comes to the condo, the VA has some requirements that need to be met here. Condo requires the property or the HOA to be on the VA approved list, which means that in order to purchase that condo, you need to make sure that it is on that VA approved list or you won't be able to close on that particular condo. Some townhomes also do have that requirement as well, depending on how it's zoned. It really just depends on the area. Multifamily property is really powerful. You can use your VA loan to buy a duplex, triplex, or a quadplex, anything between 2 to 4 units. All you have to do is live in one of those units, and you can rent out the remaining units to offset your overall mortgage payment. Super powerful strategy for a veteran or service member that is trying to build wealth through the VA home loan benefit, which you can do. When it comes to a manufactured home, this is a property that could have been like a mobile home, a modular home, or something of that nature that was not necessarily fixed to a permanent foundation at first, but now it is. That's what makes it now called a manufactured home, which will have an engineer cert and everything like that to be able to prove that it is fixed to a permanent foundation. You can do that with your VA loan. And then when it comes to new build, it's going to be like where you see a developer or a builder on the side of the road. I like to use the example of DR Horton because they're a well-known one across the country in many different areas. And you are going into a place like DR Horton, for example, and you're going to be purchasing one of their lots and one of their homes from them. That builder is basically designing 99% of the home. You're not really designing anything. Even though they have a design center, you're essentially picking from a few of the options that they're providing to you. That's you buying a new build. Custom construction is you using what's called the VA one-time close or VA construction loan. And this is where you're going to pick out the piece of land that you're buying. You're also going to design your own home with a particular custom home builder that you choose. And you're basically picking everything. You can use your VA loan for that as well. Another powerful strategy for the VA loan. But these are going to be the overall property types that you can use your VA loan for. So there you have it. How to use your VA home loan benefit as a member of the Reserve or National Guard. If you want to learn more strategies around using your VA home loan benefit, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because this channel was created solely to educate veterans and service members around the benefit that they have earned for their service and sacrifice to this country. I appreciate you being part of the community, and I look forward to being able to educate you about more things regarding your VA home loan benefit.